Well, a big cheer just went up behind me among supporters of Rafał Trzaskowski when the exit poll results were announced, showing him with a result of 50.3%, thereby winning against Karol Nawrocki, who was on 49.7%. But the truth is, this election is too close to call because the margin of error, the pollsters say, is 2 to 3%, and that is far within the margin of error. So it will have to be a long wait for the official results to come out to confirm whether Rafał Trzaskowski has indeed won this election. His supporters probably can take comfort from the general opinion that most Polish voters abroad, and a record number of Poles, nearly 700,000, registered to vote in this election from outside Poland. They're not included in the exit poll, and most of them, but no means all of them, but most of them probably, according to polling up until this election, are more likely to favour Rafał Trzaskowskiego. So it's probably more likely that Rafał Trzaskowski's score will increase slightly than decrease slightly. I mean, that's what people here behind me are certainly hoping and taking comfort from that thought, but it's so close. I think this is probably the closest that any Polish presidential election has ever been, and it's well within the margin of error, so we have to say it's too close to call at this stage.
And Gulliver, just tell us more about who the candidates are.
Well, so Rafał Trzaskowski is the mayor of Warsaw, and he is the candidate of the Liberal ruling coalition, which is led by Donald Tusk, the Prime Minister. He's Donald Tusk's ally, if you like. He is a European hand. He's been Poland's Europe minister. He was a member of the European Parliament, so he spent time in Brussels and Strasbourg. He speaks fluent French and Spanish, also Russian. So he's really a polyglot, and that's something that his opponents somehow hold against him. They see him as being more European than Polish. One of the things that his opponents hold against him is that. Another thing is simply that they're not all that pleased with Donald Tusk's government. I think even people who voted for it in 2023, so that kind of dampened the enthusiasm for Rafał Trzaskowski, who was really favourite to win when this campaign started a couple of months ago. And the ruling, the Peace Party, Law and Justice Party, which was in power for 2 terms, 8 years, until Donald Tusk's coalition won with quite a surprise victory, really, in 2023, those parliamentary elections. They put forward Karol Nawrocki because they didn't think that a candidate who was too closely associated with the party itself would have much chance because they'd just lost the parliamentary election. So they put forward him as a citizens' candidate backed by the Law and Justice Party rather than a fully fledged party candidate. And he's not a politician, he's a historian, which might make you think that he's an intellectual, but of course he does have a doctorate in history, but he was a historian who rose to prominence under the Law and Justice government when he was director of the Museum of the Second World War in Gdansk, and that was at a time when the Polish nationalist government was trying to put a much more nationalist slant on history, for example, only focusing on the Poles who saved Jews during the Holocaust rather than those who were anti-Semitic. That kind of thing was very controversial at the time, and Karol Nawrocki was by no means respected by all of the Polish historical community, and he presents himself also as something more of a lad and a man of the people. A scandal that came out in the last weeks of the election campaign was that he had taken part in fights organised by football hooligans back in 2009 when he was 26 and a doctoral student, a PhD student, and he didn't deny this. He tried to sort of make it part of his appeal, which I think probably appealed to some Poles, but others found it absolutely horrifying, especially those who remember that Lech Kaczynski, the former Polish president who was killed in a plane crash in 2010, was very much against these football hooligan battles. He said that he was going to crack down on them. His brother Jarosław Kaczynski is still the leader of the Law and Justice Party and spoke out in defence of Karol Nawrocki, saying that that's absolutely fine. That's just one of various issues about Karol Nawrocki's character, which perhaps appealed to some because he's sort of rough-edged, but probably turned others off.